Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Anime Reactions, and this is going to be my review for My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 22. And I want Episode 23. I want it now. In fact, I am very tempted, not enough to probably actually do it, but I am tempted to go and watch the sub. That's how tempted I am for it. Though some people apparently were disappointed in episode 23. Some people thought it was amazing, obviously, but then again, that's probably for every episode. But yeah. And for those of you who've probably been in the military or any kind of combat situation, any kind of combat 101, always take care of your health. You can't fight at your best if you are hungry, tired, injured, or any combination of the three, because eventually that's going to catch up with your body and you will pass out, or worse, succumb to your injuries and die. Now, obviously, Deku's injuries are not severe enough to do that, so he doesn't have to worry about that part. Unless they get infected, which I'm assuming he has them at least dressed and cleaned. I hope. At least someone did that for him, or at least had him do that before he left. Because as far as I know, he doesn't have any kind of restorative or regenerative quirk. So, yeah. We all know how Deku is. He's going to keep on trying to help people, even if it means sacrificing his own body in the process, because he's done that many times. We've seen that many times in this show, even, I think as early back as, episode 2? When he tried to save Bakugo, even though he knew he could probably get himself killed? Essentially. So, yeah, we have seen this sort of, I guess, selfless yet self-destructive behavior at the same time from him, and this has not changed at all. And, can someone tell me how long was it since before when he woke up and when he left the hospital to go with Endeavor and them to when, to when Class 1A shows up? Like, how many days has that been, essentially? Because I'm assuming, between then and now, Deku has not slept. And he's only eaten a little bit, because he ate a little bit before he ended up facing Lady Nagant. And I don't know how much of that he ate before, then. Because we saw him eating some of it. But I'm assuming he ate the whole thing. Because we didn't see him carrying it around. So he ate the whole thing, and then after that, he hasn't eaten anything. And as far as, like I said, we know, he has not slept. And, I can kind of understand it because, considering what we found out, All For One has sent out multiple hired hitmen to come after him, not just Lady Nagant. Others, and as far as we know, we have no idea how strong these other people are. They could be as strong as her, they could be weaker than her, they could be stronger than her, for all we know. And we don't know when they're going to show up, or how, or if they're going to shoot to kill, or what. And as we all know, Danger Sense isn't always going to work, because Danger Sense did not warn him when that first shot popped up, because it was not aiming to shoot him. So, if it's not a direct hit to him, Danger Sense will not, aimed at his body, or aimed to hurt people, essentially, I guess I should say, then it's not going to activate. Because that shot was not aimed to hurt people. It was just aimed to get his attention, I guess. And when multiple people are after you, have no idea what their quirks are, how strong they are, when they're going to come after you, or whether they would use hostages against you, you are going to be very paranoid on when you're going to sleep. Though, to be completely honest, if I was in that situation, I would have gone with Endeavor and them and rested with them, because at least then they would have been able to keep guard over me while I slept, and then I would have at least gotten some sleep, and then I could have gone back out again. That's what he should do. Because then they could have kept guard over him until he could have gotten that sleep, some rest, let his injuries heal somewhat, get some food in him, and then he could have gone back out. That's what they should have been doing from the start. And heck, they could have even changed locations if they were paranoid on, them finding out where he was at. Oh, and speaking of locations, they checked out that location that Lady Nagant mentioned, and there was a mansion in that location. However, there was nobody there. Only a recording showing All For One in a holograph thingy, essentially telling them, yeah, I knew you were going to come here, and it was a trap, and I don't care about All Might anymore, and now my new focus is on you. So, yeah. Now, All For One's focusing his target and his sights on Deku. And I hate to admit it, but All For One has one point. Hero Society is not perfect. It has its flaws, and it does need to be fixed. It doesn't need to be taken down completely, it needs to be fixed. Because obviously we all know the League of Villains has been made up of outcasts, people who have been tossed aside due to either their quirks being seen as monstrous, like Toga's, for example, or their mental health / their quirks, like Twice's, for example, or just simply their appearance, like Spinner's, for example. I don't remember what. I know Dobby joined the League of Villains because of his whole issue with Endeavor. Right. Okay. But yeah, all of them essentially are outcasts in one way or another, and that's because the hero system failed them. Oh, and Shigaraki was part of this because the heroes failed to help him, and he essentially, yeah. But yeah, the hero system does have flaws. Hopefully there are ways to be able to help fix that system, make it better, and still help people be able to see the heroes as people that are wanting to help and protect them and still do good in the world. However, we still are seeing heroes retiring. Death Arms, one of the heroes that we saw in Season 1, Episode 1, and one of the heroes that was, keeping an eye on things while they were doing all the raids, and going after heroes that were helping the Paranormal Liberation Foundation, ended up retiring because he couldn't handle any more the people, all the negativity from the citizens, despite him still trying to help them. He just couldn't take it anymore. Hopefully, once the whole thing with All For One and Shigaraki calms down, and they can either take them down or force them into hiding for a good amount of time to where the heroes can, rebuild their numbers and everything and try to get things back in order, get things back to a temporary sign of peace. Maybe some of the heroes can get back into the swing of things and come out of retirement. Maybe. But for now, they are losing numbers, and thus, they are having to call on heroes from other parts of the world, not just Japan. And as far as I know, I'm assuming that they probably get rid of the whole ranking system at some point. The whole number 1, number 2 thing. Because at one point, Deku says, "This is my story of how I became the world's greatest hero." And it doesn't say the number 1 hero. So I'm assuming they get rid of the ranking system, because if they had the ranking system still, he would have been the number 1 hero. Because, world's greatest hero, that means he's the best in the entire world. Though they could have extended. I assume they got rid of the ranking system just to encompass the whole world, essentially. Not just Japan. Anyway, but yeah, Basic Combat 101, you're not going to be at your best in fighting, because eventually, if you go without sleep, food, and or letting your injuries heal, it's going to catch up with you eventually, and you're going to pass out. And everybody is trying to get him to eat and or sleep, including All Might, and All Might tries to get him, some more food, and Midoriya doesn't take it. Essentially, he tells him that, yeah, I'm better on my own, I'm leaving, and doesn't even consider taking the food at the very least. Yes, he wants to keep All Might safe and avoid, the fate that Night Eye had seen of All Might dying a gruesome, horrible death in what I think probably hit Midoriya's, second year? Which is coming around the corner. And I can understand that. But at the same time, All Might is worried about you. He wants you to be able to be at your best, and you can't be at your best at this point, right now. But some people in the comments of other reaction videos of that last episode actually had a fair point that with Fajin at 45% one for all, that Deku is actually stronger than All Might in his prime, with no backlash, I might add. And Deku actually mentions this. But Deku's facing one little crucial detail that he does need. He can't do it alone. And he's trying to do it alone, even with Endeavor and them backing him. Yeah, he can't do it alone. Eventually, it's going to get to him. Especially when he's going without food and sleep. And All Might tries to grab him, and at least get him to take the food, I'm assuming, because he's worried about him. But he reaches out too late and ends up falling over in the rain. And I was yelling at the screen. Not yelling, I was getting mad at the screen watching this, and I'm like, just take the damn food! Because, at the very least, if you want to keep All Might safe, that's fine. If you want to keep All Might out of the scene, out of the sight of the enemies, that is completely fine, I understand that. But take the damn food he's offering, at the very least. Or if you don't want to, then say, thank you for the food, but I'll get food somewhere else. And then go get food somewhere else. Because even you can't survive. Deku's smart. He knows he can't go for long without food and sleep. You would think that. He would. And this actually ends up getting pointed out later by other people, seeing him walking down the street, that he does not look like a hero at this point, with the way he looks right now. His costume all torn up, him looking all bloodied up and dirty, essentially looking like, I don't know if I would paint him as a villain, not a hero. I don't know if I would paint him as a vigilante either. He looks scary, I should say. And his voice is not helping either on that. His voice is getting deeper. I don't know if that's due to puberty, or due to lack of sleep and food, or just his emotions and being angry about All For One and everything just getting to him. I don't know, combination of the three. Let me know, but yeah, this is definitely, it's scaring the citizens, essentially. Especially when he goes and just protects some people, and he turns around and asks them, are they okay? And they freak out and run away from him scared. And yet he doesn't even think to consider, wait, are they scared of me? He doesn't even think about that. So yeah, the sweet Deku that we know is starting to disappear. Or is starting to, not disappear, he's starting to, I guess starting to be buried down underneath all the anger and the hate. And even the vestiges are trying to tell him that he needs to not burn himself out on this. And he's not even listening to them. And that's not good. Even when the people in your court are trying to tell you, hey, you need to slow down, and you're not listening to them, yeah, that's a problem. And yeah, also with the whole All Might thing, Stain was listening in. He was hiding behind a building and listening into this whole thing. So, yeah, I wonder what that's going to do with that. Is he still wanting All Might to kill him? Or does he not think All Might is worthy at this point? I'm assuming he still thinks All Might is worthy, whether he has his power or not, because All Might still embodies, in his mind, what he thinks of as a true hero, because All Might wasn't doing it still for fame or fortune, he's still doing it to protect people, and he still is. Even without his power. I would think. If I'm wrong, let me know. And at this point, yeah, Deku's starting to feel the effects of not having food and sleep, because he ends up encountering a villain who's using a quirk with puppet strings, controlling a bunch of people, and he's about ready to pass out when all the people are trying to get at him because, you know, they're being controlled, and Bakugo shows up and smacks down the villain with one of his special moves, and the others show up and stop the villain. And you can just see on Deku's face just how broken he is, I guess would be the best word for it. Let me know what you think on this. Or what word you'd best use to describe this. But yeah, at this point the others are they want to bring him back, essentially. They want him to come back to UA because the principal essentially said he can come back. And they've got ways of defending the school now. And he doesn't have to worry as much about everybody being in danger for him being there. And they actually had to get Endeavor to show up to actually because he was dodging Shoto's calls at this point. And Hawks was dodging Tokoyami's calls, and Best Genius was dodging Bakugo's calls. And I love how Bakugo was calling him Feathers and, dang it, what was it? Denim Face? And yeah, Bakugo actually does have to explain to them, yeah, I know Deku best, and I know that if he is left to his own devices, he will essentially destroy himself trying to put others first and help others if he is left to his own devices. And All Might will do the same thing. So them looking after each other is not a good thing. Someone's got to go in and stop it. And thankfully, they see reason and they send them after them. Sadly, they're going to have to put the smackdown on Midoriya if they're going to even want to get him to come back. They're going to have to knock him out to get him to come back. Or something's got to give. Now, if Deku was at 100% and he was, he had eaten, he had slept, his injuries were healed, they wouldn't be able to do it. They wouldn't be able to. They would have to do some kind of real reverse psychology or something. Some kind of crazy talking to in order to get him to come back if he was at that state. But no, he's not at his best state. He's at his worst right now. So they might actually have a chance to actually beat him down and bring him back. Though that is for next episode, which I really don't want to wait for. Anyway, if you guys have any comments about the episode, how you think it's going, what you think about how Deku's doing, and everything, anything you want to say about the episode, let me know in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time.